Crack climbing is an essential skill for any climber out there. You'll be able to use all of these techniques from finger jams, hand jams to offwidthing to climb many of the best routes in the world, and these kind of techniques will stand you in incredible stead for the rest of your climbing career. In this series of short videos, we're going to give an introduction to the techniques used to climb different types of crack. We're going to cover all sizes of crack, and we're going to start this journey at the narrow end of the crack spectrum. Finger cracks are one of the most common sizes of crack that you'll come across. Feeling confident on them is important for any climber out there. There's two main hand positions that you want to look at for finger cracks, one being thumbs up in the crack and the other one being thumbs down in the crack. We're going to look at thumbs up in the crack to start with. So as before, we're looking for a position of constriction within the crack, so we're placing a hand into that crack with our thumbs pointing into the air, and then once we find to kind of get a locking position, we're then going to twist this thumb outwards and bring the elbow down in line with the crack, and you'll start to feel within the crack that these two knuckles here will jam against the crack on the inside. What you will find is with the thumbs up jam, they're not very secure in the crack and they never feel quite as good as a thumbs down jam. So for a thumbs down jam, a lot of the time you're going to be relying on these. It's probably your most useful finger jam to get really good at. And we're going to look for a constriction again in the crack, and coming in with our hand to this constriction and placing it as our fingers as deep as we can within the crack, and then twisting our hand downwards until we find a locking position. As you can see, those top two fingers quite often start to rotate out of the crack. That's not a problem, because really we've got all of our camming action on these two fingers here. So one of the things you want to be mindful of when you're climbing finger cracks is the combinations of finger locks you're using, with if you're climbing with your thumbs up in the crack or thumbs down in the crack. As you can see here, this finger crack with just about this section we're attempting is slightly leaning towards the left. So due to that, it's going to kind of lend itself better to having thumbs up and a combination of thumbs down as well. So I'll just try and illustrate that now so you can have an idea of what we're doing with it. So at the moment I've got a thumbs down jam, and you see my thumb points towards the ground. If I put my hands in this way, it means my thumbs are pointing up towards the sky, and just see the combination of those. So here we've got starting off with a thumbs down jam, and then we're moving into a pinkies down jam. Again, it sort of feels like a little bit like a layback, so it's a little bit more comfortable to hold. So in this position here, if I was to put thumbs down, it means I'd have to shift my body weight leftwards, which would be a little bit more uncomfortable. So it just suits the movement a little bit better. As you gain experience within your rock climbing, you become more intuitive about how you place your hands within the crack, whether it's thumbs up or thumbs down. If you're struggling with a hard move in a finger crack, try changing your hands around from thumbs up to thumbs down, or vice versa.
When you're climbing finger cracks and you're looking for foot placements, the main thing you want to look for is constrictions within the crack, so where it goes wider and where it goes narrower. You want to be looking for the wide parts to put your feet in, and when you're putting your toes in, you want to place your feet in sideways like this into the crack, so then you've got the rubber on the bottom of your shoe and also the rubber on the top of your shoe touching the sides of the cracks. But then to get it to stick, you want to move your knee parallel to the crack like that, and then it torques your foot in, and then you can step up on it. If you don't move your knee parallel and you just do it like that and try and stand up on it, then you haven't got anything to push down on. The next thing is, if the crack's a little bit too thin, then you can look for tiny offset bits of the crack. So for example, here is a little offset section, and you wouldn't be able to torque your toe into that, but you'd just be able to place your foot that way, and you have to apply kind of opposite pressure to the way that you're climbing, because you're not able to move your knee up, so you have to apply pressure that way to get your foot to stick. So here I'm using an offset section of the crack, for my feet, and then there I'm using a widening and then turning my knee parallel. Remember when climbing finger cracks to also look outside the crack on the wall for other footholds. And one final thing is the boots that you should use. You should use softer boots, so a nice worn-in pair of boots rather than edging boots, because that enables you to twist the rubber in a lot more easily. It's a little bit more painful, but it works a lot better than stiff boots. Join us for the next episode of Wild Country Crack School, when we'll be looking at hand cracks.